Hey, Jack. Yeah, I don't know how germane this really is to your discussion between you and Prof and PH. Maybe a bit tangential, but it stirred up some ideas in my mind. So I just kind of like to talk in front of the camera for a while, if you don't mind. Yeah, this whole idea of misappropriation of symbols. If I were going to come and make a critique of Prof MTH's video, um, I would have chosen a completely different tack. I wouldn't have tried to say, well, yes, of course, what it says in Hebrews there and what Jesus Christ is all about is exactly what was predicted in the Old Testament. And it's exactly what was there. I mean, I think the problem with that is it just makes too much of a, it just ignores the reality of how new Christianity really was, how radically of a different thing it really was. I mean, there's no reason not to take the writings of these people at face value when they talk about the profundity of the experiences that they were undergoing. They were seeing things which no eye had seen before. They were, which no ear had heard before. They were experiencing this, and how in the world are you going to describe something which nobody's seen before, nobody's thought of before? Well, the only way that you can do it is you take the symbols and the categories that you have, um, and you misappropriate them. You misuse them. If you use them in the same way that they've been used before, you're not describing the new experience. You're describing the old experiences, right? Um, let's take an example. I mean, let's see how this plays out with one of the symbols, right? The Passover lamb. What was that a symbol of, really? I mean, think think about it. I mean, it was a symbol of uh, genocide, really. I mean, just think about if this would happen today, right? Suppose somebody arises in Egypt and goes and tells Hosni Mubarak, "Look, get all the Palestinians out of the land of Israel, or I'm going to go and I'm going to kill every firstborn child in the entire country of Egypt." Right? I mean, how would this be viewed by a neutral third party, right? I mean, that it's just the most horrible thing you can think of, right? Why would innocent children have to be drug into this conflict here, right? What possible? But I mean, that's really what the Passover lamb is a symbol of. They killed the lamb and spread the blood on the posts of the door in order to say, okay, blood has already been spilled in this house, so you pass over me. Go kill somebody else's kid, right? This lamb was a substitution for the death of the firstborn of the house, right? And so that's really what it symbolizes. It symbolizes freedom from slavery, bought at a huge genocidal price. Um, and in that way, it's I mean, if you think about like the symbols of our own struggles with slavery, right? The Civil War and things like this, the symbols that are associated with that, which bring into mind an epic price that was paid in order to get rid of slavery, freedom bought at a huge price. So that's basically what the symbol of the Passover lamb was. Notice this has nothing to do with getting rid of your sins. Absolutely nothing to do with getting rid of your sins. This symbol of the Passover lamb had nothing to do with this. But we have Jesus Christ, who everybody is apparently seeing, and is visiting people, and people have this profound conviction that he's really alive, but he was killed. So how do you reconcile these two things? I mean, well, you know, you reinterpret the symbol of this Passover lamb. Okay, Jesus becomes the antitype of this Passover lamb, and why was? But of course, this is a misappropriation. It doesn't really fit. I mean, there was no firstborns that were going to be killed instead, right? So who else had to be killed instead? Well, we had to be killed instead. Why would we have to be killed? Well, we had to be killed because of evil stuff that we did, right? We obviously are worthy of death somehow. So you see how they're just trying. They have this new experience, and they're trying to describe this new experience using the only thing they have at their disposal, and these are the concepts and the categories that were available to them in the ancient world. And these would come from either Torah or from the pagan philosophies or pagan religions that are there. And we see all these concepts mixed up in Christianity. We see symbols appropriated from Torah. We see symbols appropriated from philosophy. We see symbols appropriated from other religions. All mixed up there, all misappropriated in order to describe what's going on. This is how conceptual progress happens. If you think about something like, for example, electric current, when electricity was, invented, there was nothing like it before. I mean, electrical current is not really like a current in a river, but it's kind of like it. So how are you going to get some sort of conceptual grasp on this new thing that's there? Electricity. You're going to describe it as a current, right? So you have to make sure that there's places for it to flow. So you run a wire and all this kind of stuff, right? So it's kind of like I don't know. So that's kind of how I viewed your exchange with Prof MTH there. Prof MTH is kind of saying, wait a minute, electrical current is nothing like the current that's in a stream. And then you come by and you say, wait a minute, yeah, it is. It's exactly like a current that's a stream. What are you talking about? Well, I mean, I think it really misses the point. I mean, I think a better response to Prof MTH would just be say, so what? Yeah, it doesn't mean the same thing because something new is happening here. Christianity is not Judaism. It's a new thing. It's a new creation. I mean, that's what Paul really called it. He had no other thing to compare what was happening than going all the way back to the creation of the world. This is completely reoriented everything. It's just blown up the whole house, right? So, yeah, I guess that's about all I have to say about misappropriation of symbols.